That don't work no more?
He got fucked up. he got shot up. He got shot up and everything.
I know, that was some shady shit.
Okay, so we back on. I had to switch phones.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that war on drugs. Before we go, don't nobody forget, we gotta expound on our event on February 6th. We'll spend some time on that, cause we can make sure we have that.
Okay.
But right now we jumping a lot of topics, but we gathering things, and we gonna just be able to pencil because we got our questions, we got the other questions.
I got a question to hit you with.
The war on drugs.
Okay.
We're gonna filter. We've been having a good discussion, so we're gonna go into just
The war on drugs.
of you in it, being in it.
Okay, let's do it.
So
Give us the year though. When you hit us with the year, like
Okay.
man, when that shit hit. So the first time you know about crack or being around, cause you said drugs came around in the 40s and 50s.
Yep. And I got that book,
Hitler.
Hitler.
Yes.
And it's The Hunter's Point, the Black Ghetto. That it came out in 1974. Okay, so when we go back into it, we're gonna start off with the year. And honestly, like it's like a long thing we can get into, but what I want to know is, when did the war on drugs happen? Cause I could think about like 96. I tell you this, my niece's father was like, he was the man back in the day. And when he got wrapped up with that big block shit, like in Hunters Point and shit. And she was maybe 2 when he got locked up. And she was 24 when he got out. And he is a product of the war on drugs. He was a part of that wrap up, you 3 strikes you out and all of that. So like leading into that, I want to know the before and after. What led up to that war and how did we become victims?
You good. You got a good one right from me.
So, again, my name is Queen Vanessa, and I'm born and raised survivor out of Bayview, Hunters Point, and I'm one of the members of Born and Raised Survivors and Community Developers, and our main focus and goals is to be like a FEMA and the Red Cross via the aftermath of the war on drugs. So my experience growing up in Hunters Point, it was always drug infested. Even in the 70s, I remember several drug units in Hunters Point as a kid. But as a kid, I don't know anything about what's taking place or what people are doing in their households. So I can say cocaine have always been around in urban communities, especially a community like Hunters Point, but it wasn't until when crack hit. I was aware as a young girl growing up in Hunters Point, selling cocaine on Harbor Road, and selling weed on Harbor Road to going down to selling drugs down on Bishop Corner, which is Revere and Keith. Crack wasn't nothing we was selling in that era. It was always cocaine. So there were people coming to buy powder cocaine and was cooking it up, and that was, I apparently assumed, the freebase. And then it wasn't until crack actually formed in Iraq.
Bring it forward.
That was produced to our communities nationwide, is when you start seeing the self-destruction in black families.
Pause on that. Expound on the self-destruction in black families. You say you start seeing the self-destruction of, what is it, the word destruction, self-destruction, because you smoking your own stuff, but just expound on that whole time and give us time, dates. Like, not, you don't have to be like January 1st, but like just the timeline you got.
So
years.
around 1987, I was still a teenager growing up in San Francisco, so crack wasn't really in our community. It was there, but it wasn't there. It wasn't until it became a product for everybody to make money off of. So now you have in the early 87, so I'm only, 17 years old, you have Oakdale selling crack, you got Harbor selling crack, you got every entity in the city, urban black San Francisco, selling crack, from Fillmore to Valencia Gardens, to where crack was just given to us as a product to self-destruct, because we thinking we're doing something, but along the person behind it know how it's about to self-destruct the families. So over time, you seeing everybody smoking crack and holding themselves down, to eventually you start seeing people coming to sell their Christmas for their kids, Christmas. And then you're seeing women trying to want to perform oral sex on black men in the middle of the day to get high. You start seeing people turning on each other. You start seeing people losing weight. You just start seeing attitudes just changing. And then one of the things that we need to be clear about in urban America is that who were we really selling the drugs to? We was just only selling our drugs to our people. It was only to where in 87, Hunters Point, which is West Point, was able to get outsiders. Then when the violence started occurring inside the projects, it lost its Asian customers. It lost its white customers. It lost its customers, because now nobody's coming to the urban community to buy crack, because believe it or not, the urban community was where everybody came to get their crack from.
Pause. Let me fun. We can touch why it was it's so dangerous. So now think of snowfall when it's bracking.
Yeah.
You gotta think, when we watch a snowfall, it's taking a long time
I know.
to get to what she just said.
Nah, but when it started that last season.
But I can tell you, her year, which I was gonna sit right there. I pulled it back here so I can work. But crack already hit before this. I'm gangbanging at 87. We fighting at anywhere we see certain people at 87. I'm coming to the swimming pool, Sunny the swimming pool. We coming in there deep. Here come them tower kids. Like I'm walking, I'm getting on the bus at 9 going downtown. We going to Fisherman's Wharf. I'm with a pack of niggas. There's no family. My mom ain't for me.
You used to go to the arcades down there?
Yeah. But we going with my crew. We about to fuck somebody up and take their coins.
Yeah.
Like, we housing. You know what I'm saying? I was telling her, like, 87, I said the era kind of started a little bit before that, because for me, I'm 5 in 85. I remember what I saw in 85. You know what I'm saying? I remember I told my grandma came home and said, what is that? So I don't know why she popped back up, but all my aunties used to be in this room. In my room. But my mom, they be in there smoking. But I used to think it was weed, you know, because that's all you knew was being smoked was marijuana. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the drug of choice. If anything being smoked, it's a cigarette or marijuana. You know, nothing else was being smoked that I can see as a kid. So, of course,
Let me put my phone on
do your
silent.
thing, please.
Where is that? Oh yeah, because he was
So
waiting to call.
I remember 85, and I remember my grandma come back, and I had already figured out I saw it was some white stuff. It wasn't no weed on the table. I'm looking for the green stuff or the brown stuff at the time, because it was Buddha tie, tie stick, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no dope like you gonna see when we got burger. It's some shit that looked like, you know what I'm saying, some straight Dolores, you know, some sesame. You know what I mean? Like in the styrofoam container. You know what I'm saying? That's how the weed look. I see this shit. I said, Mom Black, that's not no weed. She said, what you mean? I said, it's white. Cause I found out it's little white little stuff. And I didn't know the difference with powder and the little rock, little crystals, little pieces. But when I saw that, you know, I had to bust in the door. I had to really wait and I was waiting like a goddamn spy when they opened that door to take that first, whoever got to go to the bathroom, I got in. And they rushed me out, but I just saw it wasn't that smoke just was crazy. That cloud was crazy, you know what I'm saying? I ain't seeing nothing, but I just know the aftermath of that was And I don't mean aftermath like outside. I'm just saying aftermath in his home. This became a certain thing. My grandma went to the crib on McKinnon. She gambled at the crib every day. She'd leave. Everybody come to the house. And my uncles and my daddy's side, they all tell me, your house was the spot. That was the spot. So with all the women, it's 9, 11 women. I got 11 aunties in the house besides and my mama. Like, they in there. Deep. The girls. Fine girl. Everybody want to come to my house. So it went from this time, and then, the drug of choice, 1984 to 86, 87 was cocaine, you know what I'm saying? But really, it became crack. They were smoking. It was freebase. They was crystal ball booming. I seen them. The big motherfucking nigga looking like nigga with the long strip at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is that?
That's that freebase shit?
Yeah.
So what is freebasing?
It's actually the same thing. It's just that it was done because they was cooking it themselves. It was done.
It was organic smoking.
It was done.
It was
on
organic
like, smoking thing. It wasn't done on them little things.
It wasn't no base. It wasn't no doper shit. That's what my dad is saying. Everybody smoked dope. Like how we bust down, nigga. But it was player. Nigga, your crystal nigga did a
because that's how Richard Pryor was caught a fire.
Caught a fire.
Yeah. So
they was putting drink in that shit too.
Oh.
They was putting alcohol in the little thing so that like how a bong is. Yeah. It wasn't nothing but a bong. How we do a bong? That's why I like bongs and
like
pipes.
They do a bong. That's how they was doing freebase.
That's how freebase was a bong.
And then somehow the government decided to cook it up and make it the crack because if you watch some episodes on crack and rats, that's who they experimented it on first before they even gave it to us. Yeah. They experimented on the crack.
Before they gave it to us. Before they gave it to us, it was a sneak thing they did, and it was an accident. Mm-hmm. We had I read the book Dark Alliance. Mm-hmm. You up on that book? Mm-hmm. Okay, so Dark Alliance, you know what it said. Mm-hmm. They said they smoking pace. It's a line in there. He said, what's going on out there? The doctors, people who had prominent jobs in Bolivia, all down there, they started smoking the paste. They started taking the leaves, letting the leaves crystal up, and it was just forming the little rocks. But it wasn't cooked. The rock wasn't cooked. They was scraping it off the leaf. They used to let the leaf get soggy, the coca leaf, and they would just scrape the little crystals off and smoke that. But that's like freebase. Mm-hmm. But when they made crack, the dude heard bass. For whatever reason, they went to the chemical lab. Mm-hmm. This wasn't chemical lab. Mm-hmm. This was like weed off a plant in a pipe. Cocaine off a leaf in a pipe. Still was going crazy. And they had a reason for it.
With that baking soda.
Base is cooking.
And all that stuff.
I'm telling you, if we go to that book, we can go to that same, I bet you about in the second, third chapter is where it's going to say, they said it was an epidemic in South America about this, all in Peru, everywhere. Doctors, people, prominent people who did, when they smoked this shit, but it wasn't crack. It was paste. He said, what is it that's going on? He said, base. And when they knew they blocked, all them people lost their shit, was running around the street ravaging, they knew they could destroy a people. Who are the first people? We are the first ESL students. We are the first people to go through the English Channel. White people. Us.
Yeah.
You call yourself a Native American, but it was you. When you got here, I don't think I came on a boat. You can say you came on a boat. They can say other people went and came on a boat. But I just like to think my people were smart enough to get here first. And we was here. And we was doing what the fuck we wanted to do here. And it didn't look like what you showed me from an Indian. It didn't look like whatever you tried to show me. What I looked at my documentary that said we was already here. Olmecs. Right. All the Indians that was real Indians, the Folsom Indians, the real motherfuckers, it looked like us, and that's who we are, right? So I say this, they knew this, and they said we gotta destroy these people and keep them blind. They couldn't stop us once we desegregated Martin Luther King. We got that's 1960. Then I go to 70s. What they hit us with blaxploitation, heroin, the wars. You know what I'm saying? A lot of different mess up things with the school district, right? That's why we doing a documentary. Then 70s hit 80s. They like, man, the Black Panthers came. laws came, we had black power, black pride, we had people going, oh yeah, we black and proud, we moving up, we buying homes, we coming up, and they said this shit got to stop.
It's over.
And
They're
here
collecting
comes,
too much power.
but here comes crack in whatever year we could say, 83, 84, 85, it's fucked up by 87, you 17 years
Right.
old,
Right.
back on you.
Yep. So basically, it was like in Hunter's Point around 87. It was violence, but it wasn't no. It wasn't no. Some of the violence back in 87 and 86 was more personal violence, meaning like dudes not getting along behind a female. And one of the things I want to clear up, since we on this documentary about San Francisco and the war on drugs and everything, a lot of the episodes that took place in Hunters Point and Black San Francisco wasn't all drug related. Let's be clear. A lot of it was just crossing up the game.
Yes.
Let's be clear. You know, a lot of the brothers is dead because females was just crossing up game. I got more people, the Black San Francisco genocide more behind crossing up the game and females doing this, that, and the third, and then drugs just didn't make it no better. You know, because when the rap came out with the big block in the West Point and all that, you know, my son was only 2 years old, you know, and whether that was behind drugs or territory or egos or whatever, it just was a lot of not really knowing how to deal with each other. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing how to just deal with each other because emotions was involved and a lot of it was behind females.
You gotta bust around and make sure you do timeline when you say something, 'cause that's a
Okay,
90, that's a 95, 96.
Yeah, so
That's
basically
95.
94, really, you know what I'm saying? Mr. C
So-
died 96.
So a lot of it was it just all played together.
Huh?
Denia's daddy.
Cheers. That's my
Yeah,
name.
you know, so a lot of it all just played together from, you know, the lack of understanding, the hoorahing, and then the drugs took all our family members, like our elder, like our brothers and sisters is older than us.
Right.
So being that when the crack hit, everybody was doing crack in the community. You know, you're doing it with your sisters and your brothers and your aunties
Yeah.
and
Hey,
you know,
my brother
everybody
passing
getting
around.
high. You
Like
know?
we pass the blood around. That's why I
Yeah,
trip off
yeah,
of it.
because it
I
wasn't-
saw it. It didn't look like that, but we didn't know the responsibilities.
Yes, and we didn't know the aftermath.
Right, but see, look, in that book, it say that right on there.
And then we didn't also know the side effects because I smoked crack.
What's the side effect?
The side effects start being your attitude start adjusting.
Yep.
You didn't want to be bothered with people, and then it's taking you out of your element and how you really don't want to be, and then it's giving you this fuck everybody attitude.
It messes with your psyche.
And it, because you think everybody is against you.
Yes.
But because you're smoking this drug, whether you a closet smoker or everybody know you smoking it,
Yeah.
you are having this side effect is everybody against you. So it's turning you into a monster.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's why they came.
And I
with
need to stay
crack,
high.
And that's why they came with the crack babies. Our babies was gonna
Right.
be monsters.
Right.
That's why they came with the element, and they already knew the terminology to place on us. So all along, if you got a group of people mind being alternated by a drug that's tasting good, feeling good, thinking you doing something good, but then at the same time it's tearing you apart. It's keeping you away from your family because you're running off, you're getting high. Things are changing about you. You're not who you used to be. You know, and so it's just that we got to be clear on what it really did to us. It adjusted everybody's life, but you just had to know how to control it. And then if you couldn't control it, you was gonna get sucked up in the shit. Because it was plenty of times I told people at the round table, it's some table at the round table. So the round table was before, when my son was even 1 year old, when everybody was getting high. Because see, the round table was everybody. Sunnydale, Fillmore, Betrayal Hill. We was at the round table. Everybody got high. So it was no tripping with each other because everybody at the round table. So some people I met at the round table and that's where I left at because you know we didn't grow up with each other. Some people were just getting high with each other. So at the round table, before my son even was 2 years old, good, high and all, I told everybody that was from different territories, get y'all kids, or we don't stop smoking, we gon' lead to Basin. And because we all started off smoking it in weed, some smoked it in cigarettes, you know, some graduated eventually in the 90s. In the 90s, everybody started kind of graduating and smoking Basin because weed became, you know, it's hard to get the weed, the chiz, and the cigarettes, you know, all that shit become expensive over time. So what happened to us was we was thrown nothing but the worst. Like we wasn't given nothing but a drug opportunity, and it was a do or die situation. And the people behind the drugs knew that it was gonna wipe out Black America. So, you know, but we didn't know that. We thinking the selling it, the rims, the fast money, the doing this, taking the trips and all this, not knowing we hit blam in COVID. And I know people like, damn, I wish I would have kept some of that drug money and did this with that drug money and started me a business. Because Black people, one thing about Black people, white people know us better than we know us. So they throw us gadgets and they put things, they hinder us. And because they knew what crack was going to do to Black America. Because they was like, we got to shut them down. It's nothing we do to them. I mean, the war on poverty was what we not going to never educate you niggas. That's the war on poverty. See, what's the war on poverty? The war on poverty was our grandparents and our parents and our siblings where they said the war on poverty is that we're not going to never help you Black folks. We're not going to never help you niggas. That's why it's the war on poverty. Then the war on drugs. Who did the war on drugs affect? Black people the most. You know, even though it impacted other races, let's be clear. But when it came down to the stagnation and the generational wealth and the education and the higher learning, it took us out.
Okay, so it's gonna be people out there who are gonna be like, you know, nobody put the crack pipe up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to take the hit. It's going to be, you know, I'm just playing devil's advocate. It's going to be people like that. But what I take away from your segment just now is that when it was introduced to the community, it got flooded. It was like everywhere. Was it not? Like, when it came in, like it came in hard.
Think of when Thiz hit.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what happened.
But think of when Thiz hit. Because I watched that element, and I was old enough to understand. But I was young when crack hit.
Man.
And I didn't know what was going on. So think of like how everybody was like, man, just pop a pill.
Pop a pill.
Take a hit. If you took a hit, and that was it.
That's what happened to me. I'm standing
like
on Bishop Corner, and one of my homegirls from Oakdale, she came up to me and she was like, Muff. And I was like, what? She was like, you should hit this. You should hit this. And I'm like, what is it? Because, you know, I didn't even like Coke. See, I never snorted no Coke in my life because I had a problem with my nose. So I never wanted to do that. And all my friends at Hunters Point as teenagers was smoking Coke, and I felt ashamed to do that because, first of all, I'm young. So I don't know why would I want to be sitting up here trying to do something like that. So I felt some type of way. And so I never liked it, powder and cigarettes. I never liked it, anything like that. So by the time I got 18, right around after I had my son, is when I really started smoking crack. And I remember standing on Bishop Corner, and my girl from Oakdale came and she said, Muff, She said, you hit one of these before? And I'm like, no. She said, they call Grimmies. I'm like, no, what's that? She said, you put the weed in the, you put the rock, you smash it up and put it in the weed. And she literally rolled one outside on Bishop Corner, and we smoked it just like a Newport or a blunt, and we didn't feel nothing. We just was cool and chilling, and it really didn't do nothing to us. But what it did do, because this is what she said, it's gonna make you want another one. So that's what it did. And the next thing you know, me and her was in the house, and we was in there smoking for a couple hours. I mean, that's that. I mean, it was like it was like it was good, I guess, you know. And we just kept smoking it, and we didn't know the aftermath and stuff. Well, I started seeing some of the problems when, you know, it's Christmas time and you seeing parents trying to sell somebody, one of their kids bike. That hurts. Then that's when I knew something was wrong with this shit. Like, this not right. Like, why is our people doing this? Like, are you seeing women trying to sell themselves? I started feeling some type of way about crack. Like, I knew it wasn't what we needed to be doing, and even though I still was doing it, I was doing it to suppress some of the things that I was going through. And that's what most people do drugs. You do drugs to suppress. So being that they put the crack out there, it was just there for people to do. Even though people didn't really know about the harm, and a lot of people didn't care about the harm, because, you know, it was some people that wouldn't sell to people that was pregnant. I mean, you know, then it was some people that would. You know, it was just some people that didn't give a damn. You know, it was like me. I would give you something and tell you to take your bike home, and then it was somebody just come back around and back at me and say, "Shit, I don't give a fuck. She gonna go sell it to somebody else and buy the bike." You know, so being that I was a female, I knew that wasn't something I needed to do, because I'm a woman, and I don't want no kid going without. I don't want nobody going without. So I knew crack was there to hurt me and my people, and so I eventually stopped selling it. But I kept using it throughout my life. But I knew one thing. It was bringing me more chaos than it was bringing me any good. And then when you step away from getting high off crack, you just think about all the families that it destroyed. It really destroyed. It really did destroy our communities and our urban city everywhere, just not Hunters Point. Let's be clear, because the fact of it is it took us away from our kids, you know. Even though I'm somewhere else getting high, I'm not at my house, you know, I'm still getting took away from my kids. So, you know, it took us away from responsibility, and I just was fortunate because I had a big family. So I was able to leave my kids and go smoke or whatever, or say, "Mom, you know what, I'll be back," and Mama, you know what I'm saying? I never vanished, but I knew what I was going to do sometimes. And then it was hard smoking crack sometimes, because I fell out with some of my friends because I knew I didn't like really doing it. And so if I'm not doing it at my house with my kids, you either got to send your kids to somebody's house, or I ain't coming to your house to get high. So I lost a lot of people. That's why I say the round table. Some people you meet at the round table getting high, just doing what it is you want to do, and we mean nothing to each other. But at the same time, no matter how much crack was eating up at my conscience and stuff, I still had one. So that's why I'm a survivor, because I could have easily been a product of Hunters Point. I can be dead. I could be the shooter. I could have been the one still out there strung out on drugs. I could have been the one on alcohol. I could have been the one strung out there on heroin and stuff, you know. But I survived all those things because I just always wanted to do better. And I always kind of knew better growing up from my parents and everything. And my mom had 9 children, and none of her children are into drugs. So that was inspiring to me, because nobody in my house was doing drugs. My brother that just passed in the pandemic, but not from the pandemic, was a firefighter for San Francisco firefighters for 20, 30 years.
What was his name?
His name was Ed Banks.
That wasn't the one I said. I saw they highlighted another guy that died.
So, you know, those are the things that kept me afloat and didn't want me to be a failure because of where my family background, where I come from, who I come from. And so that helped me too. That as well. But crack really took a toll on us.
Okay, so listen. I was born in 1987. It's funny that you just came up on that year. But I was born in that year. And a lot of my friends growing up, I grew up in the 90s. I'm not a 90s baby, but I grew up in the 90s. So when people be claiming that 90s stuff, I just be like, I was there. Anyway, a lot of my friends didn't have dads because of the epidemic. And now, it's a lot of dads. You see dads pushing strollers and stuff. It's a lot of dads and stuff, but like...
Kilo G!
Right.
Kilo G!
Right.
Hey!
But like...
Hold on,
what I'm saying
man.
is, like, just to piggyback off of what you said, like, you lost a lot of people at the round table because it was like, get them kids.
Right.
This is more important at this moment.
Right.
And lucky enough that you had a conscience, but shed light on that. Shed light on those parents who kind of forgot about their kids because it adds into the system that we're talking about as far as the school system.
Right.
When I kind of mentioned before we even started recording how, like, you know,
Love
parents were absent too.
Right.
Watching.
Parents were absent too. And so to me, black people, this is my perspective, and that's why I must talk from a hood perspective, because I come from a hood. I'm straight out of Hunters Point, 51 years. And what I see is people in communities do what they see, not what they told.
Listen to this.
And so many black people start doing what they start seeing their parents doing to make excuses. You know, can you stop me for just a minute?
Yeah.
You stop me. You recording me?
We live.
Go ahead.
Oh, you live? Oh.
Take a break.
Yeah, it's all right. What?
Yeah, we got something really going on, man. It's really big. How you doing, Mom? What's up, Matt? We working. I got live. We got a whole production. You know, look, I got my new shit. I ain't bring a green screen because she had her own thing. But if I come set up, I'm busting down lights. We got a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying, cameras going on.
Big thanks.
You know what I'm saying? We got LTH in the house. Some good questions. We want to definitely pour into a lot of the things we're talking about. You know, that's how we're going to be able to do our thing.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you great. You doing
Okay.
great.
Yeah, so we was talking about what parents was doing, where we went wrong as parents. One of the things we were wrong at as parents is because we started letting the high take over us instead of us taking over it. Cause you know, it's like, to me, no matter